Well, we had a pretty long day yesterday. Got a good night's sleep, only just woken up, it's about 9 in the morning. So we're going to go and find the Harbour Lights Cafe, which I'm told does the best fried breakfast in Lossiemouth. Yeah, it's a cool little port to pull into, Lossiemouth, and if the harbour master's not on duty, pick your keys up for the marina or the pub here. They give you a welcome pack, pay your harbour dues, and have a pint as well.
But from here on, the day started to go downhill. When I opened the hatch to do routine engine checks, there were a few litres of water in what should have been a dry starboard engine bay. No sign of a leak anywhere, but there was obviously something wrong. We decided to empty the bay and keep an eye out for any more water, and try and discover where it was coming from.
You can empty that for me, Flea. There's a good few litres there already, so definitely a bit of a leak. Well, Royal Wedding Day hasn't turned out to be our lucky day, because within minutes of leaving Lossiemouth, in fact we're in the harbour entrance, we heard a strange noise from the engine. We started losing certain powers, we weren't charging, so we turned around and came back. When we looked inside the engine compartment, the port engine, behind the impeller, there was a water leak. Anyway, we hunted around for engineers, but of course it's a bank holiday. The only one we could find has gone to the Orkneys on a job and isn't available till next week. So we phoned Adrian back in Falmouth, who knows the boat, and he diagnosed it quickly. He thinks it's a back seal behind the impeller. It's not something we can do, we haven't got the part. You need a bit of mechanical skill to be able to do it, although it's not a massive job. You reckon it's about an hour's work. So we've got to make the call now. What do? We can hang around Lossiemouth till Tuesday, an engineer will look at it, probably have to call for parts. Or we can go to Inverness, which is about 25-30 nautical miles to the west. It's a bit blowy out there, it's a force 4. I don't like putting to sea with potential engine problems like this, but Adrian said it should be okay. So Fiona and I have had a bit of a chat, and we've decided we're going to take the risk and head to Inverness, where we know there'll be engineers available, we know there'll be Volvo dealers. Hopefully we can get the problem sorted a lot quicker. So, not been a great start to our Royal Wedding Day so far.
So we set out for Inverness, but uneasy about a potential problem.
So it's probably about a force 4, force 5, so it's going to be a bit choppy for the first few minutes going out there, but then we can turn and run with them, running behind us, so should hopefully be a pleasant run to Inverness. Fingers crossed!
Well, no further engine problems, which was a good thing, because as we got into the Moray Firth, the effect of strong wind against tide was kicking up an unpleasant sea. It was good to be able to head into Inverness with full power on both engines, rather than limping slowly in with just one working. But that problem still needs to be sorted. And journeys end for the day, from the wild waters of the Moray Firth to the tranquility of the Caledonian Canal.
Just 34 feet divided by 3.28 is just 10.3.
The Caledonian Canal, we're in the first lock. Long way to go, but it's real buzz just ringing it. It just feels, well, it's one of those things you hear about so much, and we're here. I'm looking forward to it. Bizarre, isn't it? We've been out in this sort of wild, hectic ocean for a couple of weeks, and then suddenly we're in this calm, tranquil canal environment where everything happens at sort of 4 or 5 knots. Lock gates don't open till 9:30 and close at 4:30. Beautiful, completely different pace of life. It's going to be a fun couple of days. Over.
Yeah, Shark Bay, Muir and Locks. The bridge is going to open in about 5 minutes. Can you come through as third vessel, fendered for starboard side? Over.
We'll do Muir Locks, listening on 74. The road bridge is going to swing in a couple of minutes, so we're going to be the third boat through. They've just called us up. There's a few other boats waiting already, so onwards and upwards. Literally, onwards and upwards into the locks. Okay, mate.
Having overnighted at Seaport Marina just inside the sea lock entrance to the Caledonian Canal, we were up early to start our transit and catch the first swing of the bridge of the day. There are fleets of motor cruisers available for charter, a great way to spend a few days if you don't want to bring your own boat.
Now this is what I call boating. Sunshine, t-shirt, pottering along at a couple of knots along a beautiful waterway. We're only about a mile into the canal so far, and there's already so much happening along its sides. People cycling, little rowing clubs, ducks in the river, and it's just so beautiful.
From the sea lock at Inverness you pass through lengths of canal, through locks and bridges, finally into the wide open expanse of Loch Ness. The canal cuts through the very heart of Highland Scotland.
Welcome to Loch Ness. Pretty bloody amazing. Enjoy.
The lock sections have no speed limit, so you can go as fast or as slow as you want. In this enclosed freshwater lock was actually the deepest water we would encounter on our whole trip, reaching depths of over 160 metres. One of the iconic sights of Loch Ness is Urquhart Castle, visited by hundreds of tourists every day. And close by was where we moored for our second night. It's the first time I've ever moored on pay and display moorings. Only the ducks disturb the tranquility.
Nah.
At the western end of Loch Ness is Fort Augustus, a handy midway point for a stopover, and where you transit a flight of 5 locks. The engineering is so simple and so timeless. The Caledonian Canal is actually a combination of 21.5 miles of canal, linking 38.5 miles of natural locks. The canal sections are pleasant and mellow, with a speed limit of 5 knots. Plenty fast enough, and gives you time to really enjoy them. The locks themselves are simple enough to pass through. Just a matter of keeping tension on your ropes to deal with the flow of water in or out of the lock basin. You meet all sorts of vessels in the canal. Some commercial fishing boats use it to move between east and west coast fishing grounds.
So we're just about to go out of the this stretch of the canal into Loch Oik. I'm just waiting for the bridge master.
From Caledonian to Aberalder Bridge. This is Aberalder Bridge, over.
Aberalder Bridge, this is Shark Bay, over.
Shark Bay, give you a throttle a wee kick, will you? You're going to have a slow there, over.
All right, mate. We're on our way a little bit quicker.
Thank you, just beginning to swing now.
It's 5:30. They close at 5:30. It's a Sunday night, and as the lockkeeper said back there, he can't wait to get home to his Sunday roast. So I think we're the last boat out of the canal tonight, and they'll be glad to see the back of us.
I'm more used to being told to slow down than to speed up.
This is the highest point of the canal now. It's about 106 feet above sea level. From here we drop back down to the sea on the western side. This is as good as it gets, isn't it? We've not seen a single boat since we came into Loch Ness. We've got a hotel pontoon to ourselves. Just behind us there's a ruin of a castle we can go and explore. Paradise, absolute paradise.
Next morning was one of the stillest I've ever seen, a dawn of unusual beauty. The tree-lined passage of Lagan Avenue links Loch Ness with Loch Lochy. It's another uniquely different sector of the transit.
So we've got the wide open expanse of the loch here now. I think we can just open her up and get to the west coast by lunchtime. Here we go. See, I told you it was cold. It may look sunny, but there's still snow on the mountains. Well cold, well cold.
This cruise ship is one of the biggest that transits the canal, and it can barely squeeze through. I wonder if the canal's designers and engineers could ever have envisaged vessels like this.
Well, we're at the top of Neptune's Steps now, at just about the very western end of the Caledonian Canal before it goes into the Atlantic and the islands. We've just seen a big cruise ship coming through the loch, about as big as you could get through there. You couldn't squeeze much more lengthwise, widthwise through. So we're going to actually turn around and head back east now before it gets ahead of us and delays our progress.
Not only is the Caledonian Canal a great experience, it's also a fantastic and safe shortcut through mainland Scotland for vessels that want to avoid the far longer and perilous route through the Pentland Firth and around Cape Wrath. When planning our trip, we always knew that this was an option open to us, but both of us agreed that if we didn't actually head round the very north of Scotland, we wouldn't really have achieved our mission. So heading back east again towards Inverness, we knew we'd had the best of both worlds. We'd enjoyed the Caledonian Canal, and we were now going to tackle what seemed on paper one of the most difficult stages of the voyage. In fact, as we got nearer to Inverness, the weather forecast was getting continually worse, as a series of low pressures were marching across the north of Scotland, with no real end in sight. So we reluctantly made the decision to leave the boat in the safety of Inverness Marina and catch an EasyJet flight back to the southwest and home. It was to be a further week before we returned again to Inverness, and with the promise of favourable weather, head to the very northern tip of mainland Britain.
Yeah, we're just approaching the final sea loch now, and then out into the Firth and leaving the Caledonian Canal. An amazing 4 days. I'd recommend it to anybody who gets the chance. Go through the canal. Something else, it really is something else.